Podcasting since 2005. This is the King of Podcasts radio network. kingofpodcasts.com.
Spring break, group sex, Coachella chaos, Bonnie Blue just crossed the line again.
We're all a little depraved and debaucherous. Here is the King of Podcasts.
Welcome to the program. This is King of Podcasts here with you once again. Depraved and debaucherous once again here on the courtesy of kingofpodcasts.com. And of course, through all the wonderful podcast portals that are out there that are catching the show where you can find it published, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, among others. You can find them all there. And of course, through the website, .com. And I always put up clips as well if you ever want to go and catch a few of those, either on TikTok or Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, all those kind of things. So we're back to Bonnie Blue again. Like, it was going to eventually happen anyway, because her spring break tour did not finish in Cancun. It started in Cancun and now continues on to Miami. And she was there this past weekend, going through and continuing her run, finagling with rappers with X-rated singles. She was at the Miami Heat game, one of the last regular season games that was here at home at Coachella Center in downtown Miami. You can see her walking around downtown Miami. You can see her at 11 nightclub. You can see her at various different clubs all around. She was making herself seen, and also she was finagling with a barely legal, I want to say 18-year-old, that was trying to get into some finagling kind of stuff anyway. But we'll get into all that right now here on the program. One of the things she already put out today on her YouTube channel, you can now see a full documentary of her spring break challenge, a 41-minute YouTube video. So she's been tasking herself with sleeping with barely legal college boys on their spring break in America. And she was in Cancun. We talked about that over a month ago. And then she came in for Miami Spring Break 2025, where she also was part and visited the Ultra Dance Festival, which is always an annual get together here, a world event that comes out here to Miami regularly. All the big EDM acts all come here, and it's a big thing. Like, people will flock in here for that event. And then she happened to also have time to go to Coachella this past weekend. She's been busy. Her flyer miles are going quite a bit, much as her body count. So the synopsis of the video reads, Miami Spring Break 2025 brought the heat, spending time at Fort Lauderdale, days at the beach to nights out that blurred out into mornings. And she had back-to-back pool parties at Rock Bar, that's Fort Lauderdale. Crazy nights out at backyard with enough content to prove it. Caught the sun, made some memories, and even spent some time chilling with little Mayboo. Listen, there's a lot of publicity behind this. She's obviously going out there as the adult star to be noticed for all the fun and games that are going on over here. She's the younger model / sex star, porn star that's going out there to be noticed, and she's making herself very much mainstream. She's already gotten herself viral over the last 3 months or so. Like, we really have heard about her and Lily Phillips since 2025. And now we're here at this point, and really, nothing really crazy or special. I mean, it really was just depraved and debaucherous, going out to clubs, hooking up with people, hanging out in the club, hotel rooms and all this and that. And she did a lot of stuff. Lots of nights out, podcast clips, photo shoots, hanging out with college kids, eating in bed, hungover. So there was all these things she was going through. And then she met up with rapper Little Mayboo. I don't even know who that is. I never heard of him. And they were going to fake the relationship to promote his music. They went on a date, fake paparazzi, and security went around with them trying to talk to him. And she had been staying in a gorgeous house in Miami and moved to a luxury yacht. She moved down to the Miami Beach, did some interviews with people hanging out there, went shopping, and casually said she was going to pick up a Rolex. So she was out living the life, living the dream, if you will. All this is going on. I'll give you just one clip from what was going on of this that maybe will give a little bit of context of what's going on here. I will just play this for you.
I'm going to teach Camilla how these spring breakers break my back. Are you ready?
She's recording.
No, I'm ready. She's ready.
So that's Camilla Rahu, an influencer that I guess she has a podcast of her own, and she was out there talking with Bonnie Blue, making the whole point of that. And, that's pretty much it. Like, that's really the whole gist of it. But there was a lot being said about a girl that she was messing around with and spending time with that made a big thing at the show. And of course, the tabloids all went over it. So that's Daily Mail and the Mirror going after her. So Daily Mail initially is talking about the fact that she was branded vile for her most disgusting stunt yet, taking a barely legal girl to a group sex stunt. So Bonnie had teamed up with 22-year-old U.S. OnlyFans model and TikTok star Julia Filippo, who already has 3.3 million followers on OnlyFans. And in a recent video, Julia and another girl called Alice, Bonnie says, "This is going to turn me on knowing I've got two barely legal girls watching, learning, seeing." She adds an X-rated comment about how the two younger girls will prepare for a group sex session next week all together. And in another clip, Bonnie's even more explicit, announcing, "I cannot wait to teach a virgin girl." She says that while she was interested in guys before, she's now focused on barely legal bop girls. That's what she refers it to.
So I know I told you could just watch, but I think it's better if you join in.
I'm not built like you.
No, but you will be. Guys, take her. She's ready to be stretched.
Oh my
I
God.
cannot wait to teach a virgin girl.
So there's a clip where she actually says that. That's one of the TikTok clips that are out there. You can find for yourself. It got a lot of comments on X. Here's some of the comments that were already said. One is, "Can I just point out that cranberry supplements and pineapple juice don't actually prevent you from catching STIs, ladies? Please don't rely on Bonnie's method." Another says, "She is foul. She needs to be jailed." Another one, "Can you imagine the trouble here there would be if there was a bloke saying it? Sickening. It's extremely disgusting to think that anyone would see this woman someone emulate. Bonnie's only 25 and looks 40. This should automatically turn girls off to that lifestyle." So Bonnie spoke with DailyMail.com about her latest trip to the U.S. and says, quote, "Most men will expect to get laid on spring break. I think having an older woman in the mix who's up for it and keen to pleasure anyone over the age of 18 is positive for the women who don't want to be pestered. The guys are guaranteed to have a positive experience because I know what I'm doing." And she also told her social media followers she was excited to take so many virginities this year. That's the start of that. Look, it's her thing to go ahead and start making a point of going as far as she can to exploit girls like this OnlyFans model and use them. But it's all this publicity stunt kind of thing, which we used to see with porn stars on a regular basis. Like, this was so common. But now these OnlyFans girls are realizing they can go and do this route. Look, it's obvious now that there are going to be some influencers that are going to go this route and be a little more privy to it. The question is that will there be enough women out there that will follow suit and try to go that route? Because now we're seeing the difference is that besides the 1,057 men that she gangbanged with, allegedly over 12 hours, she's actually getting out there and getting noticed. This is not all behind closed doors anymore. This tour proved it. She's taking it now to go to a publicity stunt to go and do more. And the thing is, I'm just trying to figure out if it's just more of a publicity stunt than anything else, because the reputation's out there. And yeah, there's a bunch of guys that can go and attest to what she did are a bit outlandish, but it doesn't matter. I guess she's making good money on it. That's the whole point. And there's enough people that are going to watch her virally on the internet, because the other thing too is that there's not even much of a barrier to entry anymore like there used to be. Because think about it like this. For you to have watched porn when you were watching early on, like say before the internet, to have to go ahead and grace yourself to a strip club or to a video store or what have you, just to go and access the content was one thing. That was a walk of shame if you go in there, unless you didn't care, to go ahead and get that kind of content. But now, because of the fact that you can now watch on any place other than your computer, like all that's going to be on your phone easily, there's no shame in this anymore. Because you can take your phone privately wherever you want and watch wherever you want. And everybody's so comfortable watching on their phones in the first place anyways. But that's where we are. It's like, it doesn't matter to her. And the other thing too is that it was these parties that she had that were all like controlled. And one of the things was that there was all this agenda that she was going to, obviously making content for OnlyFans, content for social media that she make money off of that, right? As long as she has that, might as well go ahead and make a way to cash in on it. And that's what she's been doing. Spring break, attracting just the right fans just to get to that part. That's the other thing she's trying to do as well. Yeah, why not? And that's what she's always trying to go and figure out and just move along with this. And for any girls that are watching this, because obviously they're not going to watch your OnlyFans content. This is all the content outside of OnlyFans, which is a gateway into making her lifestyle look glorified, look great. Like, this is the ultimate influencer right here. Ultimate influencer where every girl will see, oh, look, young, pretty, and she's just having the fun of her life, and she's living it up, and she's living extravagantly and lavishly, and she's shopping, she's hanging out with guys, hanging out with gals, just being ultra flirty, ultra sexy, ultra ingratiating, and just being very cheeky. It's a level that women will never get to. But at the end of this, you have to admit that she has a bit of a charm about her, the way she kind of handles herself. The accent helps. And the way she presents herself, it's not overly dirty. That's the thing that's also really telling. She's not talking like a porn star. Like, I mean, she might be saying certain things, but she's not really giving us anything really explicit or vulgar language. She's just kind of playing that line right there. She's playing a line and crossing it because of the action she's trying to go and create. When you look at some of the TikTok videos and what she's doing with the guys in the room, and she's got this barely legal TikTok influencer who is playing dumb and naive, I would imagine, but it creates the fantasy. Guys will buy into it. Girls might admire it from afar. It's creating the idea that this is going to be something they can be comfortable doing. I'm starting to ask myself if women will realize they can't go the route that Bonnie Blue's going. Because I'm never going to condone the fact that she's going to go ahead and sleep with all these different guys. And I'm also not going to be the certain person that's going to be sanctimonious and hypocritical, trying to say, oh, well, she's, blasphemous, to this and that. She's going to live her life. I think there's a lot of stuff that's over publicity right now. A lot of publicity stunting is going on right now with her. Because you got to ask yourself, do you honestly think that with all the sex she supposedly has, whether it's 100 guys in this one place or 1,000 guys in this other place, that she's really kind of torn down? I don't know if it's true. But she's found a gimmick that works for her. And what's going to happen probably because the way things are, she's making herself a mainstream celebrity to where she'll be like a novelty. And she'll get noticed by mainstream. And eventually, she might have a reality show. She might have something else that she'll do that will continue to make her get publicity. Because she's found a way to do this. She's young enough to go and keep going on this route. I could see her hosting programming. Like, I could see her hosting like a Love Island. Something like that. I could totally see her go this route. Or especially start promoting products. You're telling me you don't think that Bonnie Blue's not going to go and become a marketing tool online? Like when Sydney Sweeney for Sasquatch becomes a little bit too expensive, they'll go to Bonnie Blue next, okay? Or any kind of products. Because what do we have of anyone that's out there that's kind of promoting sex? Let's just take away the whole part of porn. Let's get that whole out of the way. Let's get the whole out of the way. Just get the whole porn thought out of your way. Let's just look at the part of her being, she is encouraging sex. Now, I'll just say this. In a way, for her to kind of like open up the guys that they should be sexual and they should go ahead and get their libido moving, well, let's encourage that to the other women that they're with. And if she's trying to be the one that's trying to go and stir up the women to be sexual, that's, I think, the part that should be considered and should be admired because at least she's now trying to go the route of getting and encouraging women to be more sexual now. Of course, you want to be responsibly sexual. You want to understand what you're doing, and that's the part she's trying to go and do here is the group sex. She's trying to go ahead and say that she's training these girls to do that and talking about it and talking about this with young females in a way that it's not this independent, I can live on my own, I can do my own thing. Well, I just need discretionary info from a guy. I don't want anything else from him. I mean, the part of where women will feel sexually liberated. I think that's actually something good. I'm taking something away from what she's doing right now and saying maybe that's not a bad thing to have. But that, of course, we don't need it to be over ingratiated, but I think you can kind of take from to a point. You could take what she's doing right here, living the lifestyle, having fun. I don't know any other influencers doing this because for the most part, any good looking female influencer, they're not doing this kind of stuff. They're going on with their girlfriends and going on weekends or whatever. Like you never see guys and girls like canoodling like this. I mean, she is embracing to become the spokesmodel for spring break every year. And it works for her until she gets tired of it or something else happens. And I hate to say it, I bet you she'll still find somebody else to go ahead and marry her at the end of the day. Like, because she's not making herself subjected to where she's going to strip clubs anywhere, or like you're not seeing a lot of her content get out there and it's not coming up to be where, I don't know, there's a lot of her stuff going on online. Like, in terms of what's behind the OnlyFans paywall. The thing is that I haven't seen much where people are kind of like spreading that all that out there, but obviously there is a very debaucherous, depraved porn crowd that will look for Bonnie Blue stuff. Let me tell you, I still have the episode I did about when she did the 1,057 men in 12 hours. And I still get endless downloads for that episode because people are just going there just because of the title. Like, I get hundreds of views right now on my YouTube channel and on my feed. It's been going on forever. So like, hey, I'm glad because at least some of the ads are going to be played off of that because people are finding it wherever they are around the world, which is okay with me. But this is going on right now for a while. And it's like, there's obviously the appetite worldwide for it. But for Americans to start feeling like there's a sexual appetite again and to get back to bumping uglies again, that's a good thing. But it's a matter of like, people should be able to go out and have fun. Like, one of the things I keep hearing about on TikTok videos and from other people I talk to when I do my Uber rides, right? And I'll talk to, young men and women all the time. They're all talking about the fact that when you go to a nightclub or even go to a strip club, nobody's dancing with each other. Everything is bottle service. Everything is like tables lining up around the club, and nobody's going down on the floor to go ahead and dance and to get sweaty and to get, close and you get some real tension going on and maybe hook up for the night or find somebody you want to go ahead and hook up with on a regular basis in a relationship, whatever it could be. That used to be a normal thing in the clubs, but that's not even going on. This year, the spring break kind of feel to it. She's doing the kind of stuff, honestly, that we would have been doing in the 90s and 2000s. Like before it became taboo about all this. Before we got this point where sex just became kind of sanctimonious and a little bit puritanistic over here because just certain people were just like, I don't know, there was just something being put down upon. And also kind of getting twisted and perverted to another level, which is like, I don't understand. At the end of the day, sex is sex. And we don't need to go and get glorified with the fact that there might be people that are of same sex or dress differently, or they've gone a complete sex change to do what they're going to do. Sex is still sex. And we don't need to go ahead and identify the fact that one is the other. There used to just be genres of it, okay? So let's just say like this, gay sex is still very popular in porn, very much so. Lesbian sex, very much popular in porn. We know that. But of course, now OnlyFans is the portal. So there's the place for porn if you want to find it from those that want to give it to you. But there's also where Bonnie Blue has done a very good job with her team to create a persona that is not so caught up in the content that she does right now. It's all this gateway content, all this stuff to kind of like lure yourself into getting to see her, getting to know her, subscribing to her channels, following her on a regular basis, and learning more about her. And all that's going on. Meanwhile, it's so limited what you see of her content outside for the mainstream to be seen, which is going to be not even so much where, if you're watching it, like the YouTube channel, there's nothing overly explicit. You're not seeing any body parts or anything like that. No real gratuitous nudity, not even the language. It's just you're seeing the visuals of just partying. Like just everyday partying if you're going on spring break or if you're just going out and you're making a weekend or you're making a week of it and you want to just go ahead and do the lifestyle. Party all night, drink all day, shop, just hang out. And just do the thing. So Cancun, Miami, she's just hitting hot spots. Tropical spots as well. So that works out. Now, the other thing that she also got herself brought into a lot of controversy was Coachella. So she attended a Coachella party and a beauty brand was worried about their reputation as a result of her visiting this of the UK Mirror or the US Mirror. She was at the Nylon House party. And performing at the event was Dove Cameron, and also in attendance were actresses Olivia Holt, Karrueche Tran, White Lotus star Tame Thap Thimthong, and Vanderpump Rules alum Ariana Madix. According to the Daily Mail, there was at least one big beauty brand that was associated with Nylon House Party who was outraged when they learned that Bonnie Blue had come to the event. Well, who didn't look at vetting the guest list before she came in? So The brand has already collaborated with a list of A-list celebrities previously. The company's worried that Bonnie's attendance could hurt the image and reputation. One source close to the event says she was for sure put on the official guest list and was received well by partygoers because they just know who she is now and they're just not even making a big thing about it. So it could be assumed that Bonnie has a huge social media following. Event organizers just thought she was just another traditional influencer rather than a famous porn star who performs shocking sex acts online, because there is a bit of a stranglehold where you don't see much of her adult content getting out there. And I think it's because her people are handling whatever content's going out there. You don't see it. You got to go and looking for it. And there's also to crack down on certain sites that are out there available. If you looking for it, I'm guessing you're not going to be able to find it pretty conventionally. Because right now with porn, it's like, it's clips and it's all your content you can find. It's just behind paywalls. It's not so much where you're going to the porn hubs anymore, because there's not that major place where people go for video content, because Pornhub got neutered through all the stuff they had through credit card issues and through all the issues of sex trafficking accusations. So they've been, in the bottom of the barrel. They are just struggling to stay around. And so she has been transitioning from the porn world into mainstream entertainment as of late. Now, as I mentioned, she now recently secured a 5-figure endorsement deal with the software company Air, where she stars in the campaign directly poking fun at her record-breaking orgy. The promo acquired tens of millions of views on Instagram alone, and it got a mixed reaction from viewers. But there were some praises also for the fact that Air decided to step outside of the box by working with Bonnie in the first place. One person saying, whether you love it or hate it, few in this thread have ever attempted something this divisive in their career. Because it's now allowed. And maybe we're starting to get to the point where we're starting to see more people just starting to kind of let themselves, their sexual prowess, a little more gratuitous depravity and debauchery being allowed to happen once again. And that's not a bad thing, I think. Which is what I think what she's doing now. And I think the transition for her is actually kind of working right now. Now, that doesn't mean that Lily Phillips stays behind in all this, because she's also got her own thing right now where Bonnie Blue and Lily Phillips are starting to work on things where they're going to start taking the idea of the Blue Origin space travel that the 4 women from last week did, where they went into space and came back down for 12 minutes. So now the word is that they're reportedly itching to be shot into space to be the first OnlyFans girlies in zero gravity. But rather than work together for one small step for OnlyFans, one giant leap for the porn industry, they're reportedly trying to beat one another to the goal. And they've been in competition for quite some time over who can devise the most outrageous sex challenges. And both are looking to thrash out the logics of them booking a place on the craft and gaining down to a gangbang high above the earth. But they're actually physically trying to figure out how they can get a sex stunt in space in this Blue Origin thing. Because what the Blue Origin space ride actually did was, if you get enough money, which it didn't look like they spent that much money to get the 4 women up to, and what was it? It was Bezos' ex-wife, or the wife, Gayle King, Katy Perry, and I forget who the other girls were. So having them go up to space and making it where they were up there in zero gravity for 12 minutes, I think it was, and then they came back down. Same thing could be done here in the same vein. So they could show the footage on their OnlyFans pages. The numbers would be astronomical. They're seeing what the price would be for that. If they could try to find a way to go and make that work. And they're looking at it. So Lily Phillips was appearing on Bradley Martin's Raw Talk podcast and recently said that, quote, "I would love to be the first to get fucked on Mars," end quote. And she also messaged Elon Musk in hopes of humming the project, but perhaps unshockingly, she has gotten no reply on this. And then she also mentioned, "Get me on board. I want to make a fucking porn video on that." So now they're going to take that idea and try to go and move forward with it. And maybe they will. Who knows? Oh, here we go. It was Katy Perry, Lauren Sanchez, Gayle King, and a few other women going up on Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin rocket. It was an 11-minute journey to space. But like I said, it was the idea of just having women go to space just to go to space. But I think this opens the door for other people to go up to space in this route. In such a short route, I don't think it would be too much of a risk for them to go and do that, but they're going to try to do that. So they both want to do a galactic gangbang and broadcast it to their OnlyFans pages. So it will be streamed on OnlyFans only. So I don't know if anybody else would even get their hands on it, but obviously it would be something that their people would go ahead and provide out on social media to get that word out there. So it's not them working together. They're both trying to play against each other to see what they're going to do to make that work out. But, it's their idea of trying to go and figure out what can they do to kind of one up each other, because that also helps out in their own realm for themselves to continue to keep going up against each other to push each other farther and farther. But right now, Bonnie Blue is getting the most of everything because she's getting the most publicity right now of all of it. Because every time we even see a story come out there, it's Bonnie Blue's. It's going to be mentioned first. Lily Phillips will be mentioned second, and that's it. So that's part of the thing we have right now that's being done. Lily Phillips, we know, obviously is the better looking of them, but she's not been so apprehensive and has not been trying to push so far for the limelight as much as Bonnie Blue has. And a few other stories I want to bring up before we go and wrap things up. When it comes to looks maxing, there's a story from Barron's I saw. I wanted to make sure I brought this up. The rise of looks maxing influencers. So kind of tying on with the influencer route here. There's a new trend that's fueling an industry of influencers who promote what experts call toxic male beauty standards. So in posts across TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, there's a promotion of looks maxing influencers, part of the online ecosystem called the manosphere, surging popularity across social media, capitalizing on the insecurities of younger men eager to boost their physical attractiveness to women. So they're saying that guys can use any one of the many methods to achieve everything from pouty lips to chin extensions to almond-shaped hunter eyes, monetizing their popularity by endorsing a range of consumer products. And these influencers are taking steroids, undergoing plastic surgery, and even leg-lengthening procedures to become more attractive. While women may pay regular visits to estheticians or buy new beauty products, the manosphere at times promotes a DIY approach that draws on the nearest toolbox. There are some guys who are taking the hammer to their faces to create a legitimate way to achieve an angular jawline. There was another British influencer named Oscar Patel that promoted mewing, an unproven technique that involves pressing the tongue into the roof of the mouth for improving jaw and facial structure. And there's a US-based TikToker, Dylan Latham, misleading his 1.7 million followers to whiten their teeth by applying hydrogen peroxide to their teeth with a Q-tip. And some dentists will say that regularly using store-bought peroxide could damage both enamel and gums. So this is a new thing that's coming in right now, and somebody's saying here that this is among men, mixed in with the misogyny of the manosphere, which often blames women for male insecurities. Listen, there are guys doing this kind of stuff right now. If they are, who knows if they're low testosterone, if they are not there to kind of connect with other guys, if they're not drinking enough regular pasteurized milk from cows and not drinking almond milk or some other kind of plant-based whatever that doesn't work for them. I'm wondering if there's just something where there are some guys that just never became manly and never became very masculine. They're lacking masculine traits for a number of different reasons. And that's what's happening. But there's this idea of whatever it is, looks maxing, and thinking there's some things you can do to kind of change your look that you could do without going through traditional plastic surgery. I don't even understand what that goes about. So there are some people that are doing this thing right now. There's also trends like gym maxing, focusing on building muscle, money maxing, centering on improving financial status, all the ultimate goal of increasing sexual desirability. Well, we know all the part about the alpha male kind of stuff. I don't know if the alpha males really go to this route to start changing themselves to make themselves look like a different person. And then they're trying to bring up the part of the Adolescents Netflix series about the case of a 13-year-old boy accused of killing a classmate after consuming misogynistic content online. Trying to tap this into it too. I don't understand what Barron's is trying to do, but okay. Yeah, that's what you're going to say. And this is all this here. By the way, this must be a woman that wrote this story. Yeah, it's women in London. And they just said, oh, well, this is looks maxing. And this is all misogynistic and manosphere and yada, 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 yada. But anyways. Last story. Psychology Today put out a story about when two dark personalities argue, sparks fly. The mutually destructive styles of two dark personalities. If there are two people in dark triad traits that are bad enough alone, what happens when they argue with each other. When you have people that are very narcissistic, put it like this. If you have two people that connect with each other and they have high levels of narcissism, Machiavellianism, psychopathy, and sadism. So you're talking about people that are very gaslighting, narcissistic, controlling, and bullying, all these kind of things. They will ruthlessly lie, manipulate, and cheat, taking pleasure in watching a victim squirm. Could be a victim. It could be a person at work, in your community life, a public figure you watch from afar. And they talk about the fact that what happens when you have two certain archetypes just like this, dark personalities that might confront each other in the same place or situation. How likely are they to get along? And could they have some grim respect for each other? Well, chances are that conflicts they will invariably get into quickly escalate into serious trouble. So if you know people that are like this, if they meet someone that's like-minded, they're going to really escalate and they're going to probably not like each other because they see themselves as threats. Most likely, one or the other. After all, the narcissistic qualities of the dark triad, people would lead them to be liked. The manipulatedness may show up as outright bullying, and as finding the middle ground to use this leverage. So they're going through and trying to figure out what's happening from this. And they said in the story to sum things up that people high on these kind of traits are generally best avoided or viewed from a distance. When the conflict they generate affects you, you should know what to look out for and offer at least a modicum of protection. So if you ever come across people that are both very narcissistic, controlling, manipulative, so like say if you got like two toxic boyfriends and they decide to go and confront each other, yeah, they're probably going to get into a fight. That's what they're kind of saying about this in the story. All right, well, that's the show for the night. And I appreciate all of you listening to the program, as you always do. So coming out of all this, like I said, I'm starting to have a little more of admiration for Bonnie Blue. I guess there's something that I'm starting to learn about what she does from all this. Aside from the normal stuff that she's getting herself into where, let's go into space and have sex. Let's get young girls, virgins, to go and have sex. And she wants to have sex with virgin boys. I think the education to young women is not a bad thing. And I think that getting out there, having some fun, going to the clubs, getting drunk, having some fun out there, responsibly, of course. That could be fun. And there's nothing wrong with being a little depraved and debaucherous.